Welcome to Bloomers in the Garden. I'm Len Schroeder.
And I'm Julio Zamora.
It's Valentine's Day, or close to it. Are you getting or giving roses to your sweetheart? We'll tell you how to make them last in our first segment.
Ron from Bergen County sent us a text message to the Bloomers in the Garden hotline. He is having problems with his boxwood. We'll tell you all about it in our second segment.
Hey, it's time to get out in the yard and start your winter pruning program. Do you want to have knockout summer blooming shrubs? Learn what to do in our third segment.
One of our favorite flowering perennials is starting to bloom. We'll tell you all about it. Hellebores, by the way, that's what it is, in our fourth segment.
On this week's Houseplant Rant, we're talking about rabbit's foot fern. I love them. They're cute. They're about the cutest plant there are.
They are.
Anyway, learn all about this beautiful houseplant with the furry feet in our final segment.
So stay tuned, and we'll be back in the garden right after these messages. Bloomers in the Garden is brought to you each week by Bloomers Home and Garden Center. Bloomers is an award-winning garden center just 20 minutes from Philadelphia. Bloomers has been providing expert advice turning brown thumbs green for over 30 years. At Bloomers, we want you to ask us every question, even if you think it's silly. We share information in a friendly, non-judgmental way that is meant to teach and spread the joy of gardening. Visit Bloomers Home and Garden Center in Washington Township, Gloucester County. For directions, go to bloomers.com, and we'll see you in the garden.
Hi, this is Len Schroeder from Bloomers in the Garden. Do you have a landscape, garden, or plant question? If so, call or text us using the Bloomers in the Garden hotline. Dial 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you. Call or text us and let us know what problems you're facing. Let us know how we're doing. Call or text 609-685-1880. If we use your comment on the air, we'll send you a free Bloomers t-shirt. Call or text us at 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. And we'll see you in the garden. Fertilum's azalea and evergreen food plus systemic insecticide 915-3 contains 5 micronutrients which are designed for azaleas and evergreens to provide the proper nutrients and producing stunning green leaves and essential new growth while protecting the plant from damaging insects for up to 8 weeks. Fertilum's azalea and evergreen food contains 9% nitrogen for green growth, building bigger stems and leaves, 15% phosphorus for root growth and increased flower production, 13% potash to promote vigorous growth so plants are better able to resist disease and cold. The micronutrients are the icing on the cake to enhance further growth, strengthen, and beautify color. Tired of seeing your plants prematurely drop their leaves, the flowers disappear? Fertilum's Azalea Evergreen Food plus Systemic Insecticide 915-13 contains an easy-to-apply insecticide that keeps your azaleas and evergreens looking great all year long. Those hungry insects do not have a chance. Apply in spring before bud sprout and continue throughout the season as indicated on the label growing guide. Fertilum's Azalea and Evergreen Food plus Systemic Insecticide 915-13 with micronutrients is a must for the passionate azalea and evergreen grower to help produce that beautiful abundance of color and fantastic fragrance everyone will love. So next time you visit your favorite garden center, pick up Fertilum's Azalea and Evergreen Food plus Systemic and expect to have the best looking shrubs in the neighborhood. You're listening to Bloomers in the Garden Radio. Listen anytime through your favorite podcast provider or hear us on the radio each weekend. Every Saturday morning, Bloomers in the Garden Radio is heard in Philadelphia and throughout the whole Delaware Valley, first at 8 a.m. on Talk 860 WWDB and again at 9 a.m. on AM 800 WTMR. On Sunday at 8 a.m., we can be heard through the New York tri-state area on Classic Oldies 1250 AM WMTR. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the garden. We're in the garden. Julio?
Oh, yes.
I have a question.
Go
I have
right
a question
ahead.
for everybody.
Yeah.
All right. Is it acceptable for a man to receive roses from his female Valentine? Aaron?
Go ahead, Aaron.
No question about it.
Yeah, so yes, roses for Valentine's
Absolutely.
Day.
Yeah.
You're good with that,
Yeah.
Julio?
Yeah, I'm good with it.
You got TJ?
I'm good with it.
Look at that.
Yeah, it's a nice
All
change
right.
of
Wow.
pace. Definitely a nice change of pace.
Yeah,
it is.
I mean, it. I guess I'm like in between.
Oh, are you?
Yeah,
You're
I mean,
kidding.
if I'm giving her roses
Right,
and then
okay.
she gives me roses, she should just give me the bunch that I give her.
Gosh,
You know,
you kid.
and see, well, I can't give roses anyway.
Or no?
You know,
Why?
either can you.
No.
You know,
Just call those rebound roses.
See,
They're going back
Aaron,
and
you're
forth.
still new, so you'll be able to give roses for a while.
Yeah. Okay.
After a while, it's just going to be looked at. Roses. Wow, you worked real hard.
Yeah.
So I have found over, I was married for 37 years, and that
No.
no, roses just were not
We're not
like
gonna-
frowned. We're very frowned upon.
Right.
And now I've got a problem because I always went chocolate covered strawberries.
Oh,
Right? Because
Right.
again, because that way I had to actually make an effort.
how about that?
But I can't do that now because my fiance Danielle is all. She works in the grocery store, running the grocery store, so she has access to that too.
I got to pay for that chocolate.
Well, right, and so it can't be something that is
Right.
that easily accessible.
Right. I can imagine.
But I'll tell you what, roses.
right.
You know what the best thing with roses are?
What is it?
Is when you have your girl receive them at work.
Oh.
Oh man.
Oh.
Oh,
How about that.
It
Yes, that
jealousy
is-
from other women,
other ones?
and
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like it is, and she like feels great.
Yeah,
because-
she
yeah.
does.
Look at that. My man loves me.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Oh.
Anyway, what are we talking about today?
Oh, I don't know.
You
Now, I have some information.
All right, are we getting
here.
back to the show?
No,
Sorry,
not yet.
everyone. This is actually a horticultural show, not
That
an
is.
advice column. But if you want advice, contact Julio Zamora
That's
on
right.
the Bloomers in the Garden hotline.
And we will take care of that for you. Now, I have some information here, Len, about they took a poll, right, for Valentine's Day sales. 64% of men buy flowers, and 36% of women buy flowers. all
For
right,
Valentine's Day or overall?
for Valentine's Day.
Okay, well, that makes sense.
Now, here's the next one. 60% of men of all ages said they would love to receive flowers.
Well, there you go. Our poll.
Yes.
You have it.
All right, so
Right, TJ?
60%, right?
Hey, there
I mean,
you
that
go.
kind of, we're pretty
See, we're
close to
good,
that.
right?
It's one shaky vote out of four.
One shaky vote.
That's pretty interesting. Well, the whole idea is if you're getting home late and you forgot, let me warn you. This show is on 2 or 3 days before you have to make sure. So don't buy them in the gas station.
That's right.
On the way home so they smell like, diesel fuel.
Petroleum.
The whole idea is roses are supposed to smell nice, but if you
right.
have to, there is a way that you can make those roses last a little longer. I suggest this for even if you buy them at Bloomers or the florist or anywhere you buy roses, that the thing you need to do is make sure that when you bring them home, that you remove any leaves that are going to be in a vase that's underwater, and that that will stop the water from fouling, which will also make it easier for the stems to soak up that water. Now, what about cutting stems? Now, Julio, you just cut all of Bloomer's roses,
Yes,
right?
I did. Yeah. Mhm.
Right? So now we had just got them in and they immediately got
Yesterday.
put into water. But if you're going to recut those stems, you want to cut them under running water in a sink or underwater in a sink, because what happens is, have you ever siphoned gasoline out of a car or had to create a siphon?
No, I didn't.
No fun. Aaron?
Not at all.
There you
Yeah,
go.
TJ, I mean, have you ever created a siphon? You take a hose and you suck on it so that the siphon goes.
Wait a
Never
minute.
in my life.
It sounds like desperate times call for desperate measures, Len.
Well, all right. So
Did
those of you out there, okay, this analogy may get lost on most of you because evidently everyone here in the studio is not going to have any clue of what I'm saying.
All right.
What happens is that if you have an air gap in that siphon, it stops. And that's kind of what it's like when you cut the rose. You're letting air get up into the
inside.
stem of the rose rather than keeping it underwater, and therefore that siphon continues.
That makes sense.
Well, I'm glad, but I'm gonna show you guys that we're not gonna siphon gas, but we're gonna maybe go out to one of the ponds and at Bloomers, and we're gonna just show you how easy it is, so that when you do run out of gas, anyway.
I don't know about that.
So, but you want to make sure that you're doing it underwater, and you're taking about an inch off, and it's that way. If that stem had dried out for some reason, that it will get it right to where that flow of water will continue to go up. And you want to use sharp knife or shears would be better. Like, for instance, if you use a pair of pruners, and we're going to go into pruning in a couple of segments from now, you don't want to use the kind that crushes the stems. That's an anvil type. You don't want to use that. You want to use a scissor type of pruners. And again, you don't want to let any air get into that stem before putting it into the container. So, did you clean your vase, or did you get a vase? Make sure you clean your vase before you put it in. And those little packets of they look like ramen noodle seasoning packets, right. But those are the actually food. Julio, you didn't get a real tree. I don't even want to talk to you.
No, I know you don't.
You know what Prolong is, though.
I do, yeah.
So when you get Christmas tree preservative, Prolong is the same preservative so that you can use for cut flour. So you don't need to buy more, that you probably have it from what you put into the water in the Christmas tree stand, because it's the same idea. You want to keep that flow going through that rose so it doesn't end up where the heads fall over or looks funky or just doesn't look like alive. So that's why you want to do that. If you can keep them in a cool place, that would be best, because then it's going to add the longevity of it. Don't put them near drafts where you're going to have like your heating unit blowing on it. That's not a good idea. Not a good idea. And guys, face it, we're kind of cheap, where we want to extend the life of these things as long as we can get credit for it. Everybody comes, oh, that sounds nice. Look what Julio got me. Anyway, so we want to make sure that those roses last for a long time. Yeah. Oh, sunlight. Keep out of sunlight too. Yeah. That will affect the flowers. And again, it's something, if you see a flower flower head that's starting to turn or starting to wilt, that's, again, you want to go and submerge that entire rose in the sink, for about 20 minutes. Wow. And it should absorb enough water, but again, cut that 1 inch off, and that's sure your roses are getting shorter, but they're lasting longer. Okay?
That's good.
And always check the vase. You want to make sure that the stems are in water. Don't just fill it once and think you're done. It's going to be like anybody who's had a Christmas tree has found that they have to add water on a regular basis. You're basically dealing with the same thing. The roses are going to want to absorb water, and that you don't have just one stem. You've got a dozen plus all of the other baby's breath, fern. Like we have hydrangeas that are mixed with a dozen roses, or lilies. And that all of those plants, or all those flowers, are going to want to absorb water. So make sure you're keeping enough water. I almost said stand. Keeping enough water in the stand, in the vase, and make sure that it's, again, just keep an eye on it. And you can have it last 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
You just got to just keep after it, not 3 days.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Julio, do you have any other fun facts besides 60% of men would like to receive flowers?
No, I don't have any more facts, but I usually, what I do with my vase?
No.
I usually, I pour the water out like every two days, clean it, to clean it.
That's good.
It starts to smell.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And that, again, that's why you don't want the leaves under the water, too, because
it'll smell like crazy, yeah.
But, again, that's a good idea. So, but whenever you add new water, make sure that you're combining it with the floral preservative. Right. And, again, that Prolong that you had for your Christmas tree is the same. It is made for that as well.
Right. It's very good.
All right, we're up against
All
a
right.
break. We'll be right back right after this. Hi, this is Len Schroeder from Bloomers in the Garden. Do you have a landscape, garden, or plant question? If so, call or text us using the Bloomers in the Garden hotline. Dial 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you. Call or text us and let us know what problems you're facing. Let us know how we're doing. Call or text 609-685-1880. If we use your comment on the air, we'll send you a free Bloomers t-shirt. Call or text us at 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. And we'll see you in the garden. You know, some of our most frequent questions revolve around organic container gardening for houseplants, annuals, and of course, vegetables. Coast of Maine's Bar Harbor Blend Organic Potting Soil is a lightweight soil mixture made with salmon, blueberry, lobster, and other composts, as well as calcium and chitin-rich lobster shells, sphagnum peat, perlite, and kelp meal. It is a great soil. And Coast of Maine's Bar Harbor Organic Potting Soil is rich in organic material, creating lush, disease-resistant plants that require less watering, less feeding. Its rich, dark brown color provides the perfect balance between water retention and drainage needed for healthy plants. Coast of Maine's Bar Harbor Blend Organic Potting Soil is available at these local retailers.
Haynes Garden Center, Cinnaminson, New Jersey. Burlington Agway, Burlington, New Jersey. Sickles Market, Little River, New Jersey.
Your next houseplant is waiting for you in Bloomers Home and Garden Center's greenhouse. Bloomers recognizes that houseplant choices are as important to your interior decorating as the fabric on your couch. The right plant, paired with the perfect container, can bring a dynamic change to your home. A houseplant brings life to your world and connects your home's interior to the greater outdoors. Even a small succulent placed on your coffee table has a way of connecting your living room to the Amazon rainforest. How about an air plant in your kitchen? Looking for an indoor flowering plant to add color to your plant palette? Bloomers has a large revolving assortment of flowering beauties. From aglaonemas to ZZ plants, Bloomers Greenhouse is stocked with your next favorite indoor plant. Bloomers carries a large selection of pottery and containers to match your home's decor and make any of your plants more beautiful. Bloomers experts can help you care for your plants and have the fertilizer, insecticides, leaf shine, and specialty soils you need to grow healthy and happy indoor plants. Visit Bloomers Home and Garden Center's greenhouse and make every room in your home a living room. Visit bloomers.com for more information. That's bloomers.com, and we'll see you in the garden. You're listening to Bloomers in the Garden Radio. Listen anytime through your favorite podcast provider or hear us on the radio each weekend. Every Saturday morning, Bloomers in the Garden Radio is heard in Philadelphia and throughout the whole Delaware Valley, first at 8 a.m. on Talk 860 WWDB, and again at 9 a.m. on AM 800 WTMR. On Sunday at 8 a.m., we can be heard through the New York tri-state area on Classic Oldies, 1250 a.m. WMTR. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the garden.
Welcome back to Bloomers in the Garden. Well, we were just talking about rose pruning, and now
Yes,
we're going
were.
to talk about pruning at the right time of year, and it's essential for certain plants.
Yes, it
Now,
is.
Ron texted us on the hotline as having a problem with his boxwood. Here's what he had to say.
All of my 8 of my 2-year-old boxwoods, which faced west, were properly lightly trimmed in September. It appears that some of the trim stems have continued to grow and produce new leaves. Now, during the winter, some of these new stems and leaves are yellowing. The rest of the boxwood still has green leaves. What could be the problem? From Ron.
Oh, boy.
Julio,
I tell you what.
tell me, brother.
I tell you what, brother.
What is it?
Well, he was pruning too late, Len. That's his problem.
So boxwoods pruned too late, and he said in September.
September, yeah.
And that was really what tipped us off.
Right.
Tell me about boxwoods. You have boxwood? You have a lot of boxwoods.
Yeah, I got
actually.
about 13. you know.
Yeah. So tell me about pruning boxwood.
Yeah, you want to prune boxwoods in the early spring, and so you were talking about
Well, what's
April,
early
May.
spring?
You're talking about April, May. You know, when they're in the growth, when they're growing,
A little after, when you will see that around May, June, at least between May and June is when I do mine, because the growth pattern has pretty much slowed up.
Like I have boxwoods that are like giant green meatballs now in front of my house.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and they need to be cut back.
They do.
Really hard.
Really hard, yeah.
Are you making fun of my house? Anyway, that they need to be cut back really hard. I'm talking... they are probably about 3.5 foot tall, maybe 4 foot tall, and that they're blocking the windows. Yeah. They need to be cut back at least a foot. And if you are going to do severe pruning like that, and it should really be done in winter for winter pruning. And we're going to talk about winter pruning in our next segment, but that will be able to control the growth while they're still dormant. And the new growth will push out. You don't worry about that you're killing them. That the new growth will push out after you've pruned them. But if you do it too late, like in September, it's going to want to grow. And just like Ron he had new growth that came and it turned all yellow. He needs to be finished pruning boxwood. I would say, we have 2 growth cycles. One is the first cycle in the spring, and then we have it's a summer. All right, back up. Hardening off of the new growth that happens in the spring. Okay, so it starts growing March, April, May. Then that growth is done. It hardens off, and then the next series of growth starts. The 2 times to do this is one, you can do it before the new growth starts in the early spring, like you were saying, Julio, or after. I back that up. After it's pushed out that new growth, you can cut that new growth off. And then just like in the spring, it will flush out another section of growth. When you pruned them in September, the plant was tricked into thinking that, I can push out new growth. And that can be a problem with boxwood, especially because that's when they can get winter burn real bad. We talk about winter burn on boxwood all the time. So next year, do it sometime. July is probably the best time because then that's that second series of growth. I think that would be ideal.
It would be, yeah.
All right.
Another thing he has to do, and I do it all the time, every year, is I spray it with wilt stop.
That's right.
And because the boxwood, they have shallow root systems, so they they lose a lot of their what do you call antiperspirant.
Antiperspirant. I put it on today.
Did you really?
Do I offend? No, it's what Lou's trying to get out is anti-transparent.
Transparent, yeah, that's it.
That what wilt stop and wilt proof and what that product is actually something that you spray the plant with, and it's like chapstick for your plants.
Yes, it is.
And it keeps the moisture in your plant from evaporating through the leaves. Right. And boxwood, with all those little leaves, there's lots of places for that moisture to escape. Right. If you do, you do go and spray them in, and you can do it, just try to do it before the temperatures get regularly below freezing. And I'm laughing. It's like, when did that happen this year?
I don't know.
Anyway, so do it, and then that will stop that problem that you could have from winter burn. So again, prune them, and then some people, we always talk about this when plants are dormant, but you can still apply wilt stop, wilt proof, again, the anti-transparent, which slows down the moisture loss through the leaves. You can do it in the summertime. And therefore, like any new plantings, there's no reason not to. Do it, You just can't do it when it's too hot, and just follow the instructions. So some of those plants where people say, I plant everything, it dies. Maybe you should start because, you're probably not watering, right? But it will actually slow down the loss of moisture through the leaves.
Right.
So again, pruning at the right time.
Right.
And you're going to hear about some great pruning tips in the next segment. Right after these messages. Hi, Hi, this is Len Schroeder from Bloomers in the Garden. Do you have a landscape, garden, or plant question? If so, call or text us using the Bloomers in the Garden hotline. Dial 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you. Call or text us and let us know what problems you're facing. Let us know how we're doing. Call or text 609-685-1880. If we use your comment on the air, we'll send you a free Bloomers t-shirt. Call or text us at 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. And we'll see you in the garden. Fertilome Succulent Potting Mix with EcoPeat is the perfect ready-to-use potting mix for all your succulents. Fertilome Succulent Potting Mix is a blend of sphagnum peat moss, perlite, and EcoPeat. EcoPeat is a natural wood fiber from peat bogs. When added to Fertilome peat moss, it produces a superior professional substrate with an exceptional ratio of air porosity and water holding capacity. Fertilome Succulent Potting Mix will ensure maximum drainage with ideal water retention. It's simply the best succulent mix on the market. Ask for Fertilome by name at your local garden center. Available at Daniel's Garden Center, Sumneytown Pike, Harleysville, Pennsylvania. Gasper's Home and Garden, 316 Tanyard Road, Richboro, PA. The Bird Sanctuary at Bloomer's Home and Garden Center is dedicated to the care and feeding of wild birds. We carry a flock of feeders like the Brome Squirrel-Proof Feeder, which has a lifetime guarantee. Brome makes fantastic feeders for frustrating squirrels and feeding songbirds. Bloomer's Bird Sanctuary has a vast selection of wild bird seed, suet, seed cakes, and mealworms. We carry Lyric, Coles, C&S, Pine Tree Farms, and our own line called Bloomer's Blend. Bloomer's Blend Songbird Magnet contains premium black oil sunflower, peanut splits, millet, safflower, and tree nuts. It's sure to attract the most colorful songbirds to your yard. Bloomer's Home and Garden Center is located in Washington Township in Gloucester County, New Jersey. Visit us online at www.bloomers.com. When you come in, ask for Shirley Spurbeck, Bloomer's Wild Bird Specialist. Mention you heard it on Bloomers in the Garden Radio, and we'll give you $10 off a 20-pound bag of Bloomer's Blend Songbird Magnet Mix. You're listening to Bloomers in the Garden Radio. Listen anytime through your favorite podcast provider or hear us on the radio each weekend. Every Saturday morning, Bloomers in the Garden Radio is heard in Philadelphia and throughout the whole Delaware Valley, first at 8 a.m. on Talk 860 WWDB, and again at 9 a.m. on AM 800 WTMR. On Sunday at 8 a.m., we can be heard through the New York tri-state area on Classic Oldies, 1250 a.m. WMTR. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the garden. Welcome back to Bloomers in the Garden. I'm Len. He's Julio. And if you listen to this show for any length of time, you know one of our favorite expression is don't fear the shears. Okay? It's time to use them.
That's right.
But only on certain plants.
That's right. No.
Look, it's better to use your shears than to not do anything, because then all of a sudden you're going to have plants that are out of control. But winter pruning is a real thing, and that it's something that you need to do. And follow the 1/3 rule, where the object of pruning is open up the top of the plant so light can get in and air can reach the interior, and that helps in flower formation, but also disease. When we talk about roses, roses, if they are too big and bushy, they end up getting black spot and other diseases. But other plants do too, like spirea and powdery mildew. Mm-hmm. So 1/3, if you take 1/3 of it, just trim it down, and that will open it up, and you'll be amazed. The new growth will come in. Now, we're talking about primarily summer flowering shrubs. Summer flowering shrubs, like, for instance, Abelia, one of my favorites.
Oh, yes.
Abelia attracts hummingbirds, pink flowers. Mm-hmm. There's all different varieties. There's newer varieties, and introductions are all about the foliage, where it's a yellow, swirled, green, white.
Beautiful.
And they're very pretty. Mm-hmm. And that cutting those back by 1/3 will end up having nice and full, bushy plants.
Yeah, beautiful.
Butterfly
bush. Yeah, another one. Mhm.
Right? How many butterfly bush do you have?
I had one.
Had?
Yeah.
What did you do?
I cut it. I cut it away. I put it
You
away.
got.
I
You
got rid
didn't
of it.
prune it and killed it. You
didn't.
got rid of
I
it.
got rid of it. Yeah. Hey, I'm going to change it up. Can't have it forever.
There's no plant safe in Julio Zamora's yard.
I'm always changing it up.
That's right. I'm the plan it and forget it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So,
Oh, yeah.
but again,
2 or 3 years for me.
but look, Buddleia is again butterfly bush. That if you cut it back, because butterfly bush can get out of hand, depending on the variety. Like if you have some of those like Black Knight, and there's some of those original white varieties, that they will get out of control.
Yeah.
Thank goodness there's a lot of dwarf ones, but I would cut those back too.
Yeah.
Like what our favorite, Pugster.
Pugster.
Cutting back a Pugster is going to make it unbelievable come, say, June, when it starts setting buds, and the flowers will be bigger, the plants will be healthier. It will just look really, really good. So cut back your butterfly bush and do it now.
Barberry's another one.
Barberry?
Yeah.
That's right. Barberry, yeah. Those are those ones with the thorns.
Thorns on it, yeah.
So make sure you pick up all of the scraps so that when you're walking around in your bare feet, that you don't step on one.
Right.
Yeah, okay? We don't want to do that.
No, we don't.
Beautyberry.
Beautyberry, yeah.
Not an underused plant. Calicarpa.
Calicarpa, yeah. It's
Beautyberry is a plant that it's not grown for the flowers, although it's little white flowers that will trace the stems. It's the purple berries that they get.
Yes,
and it is intense, glossy purple.
That's right.
If you have Beautyberry, tell your neighbors to watch that plant.
Oh, my God.
Cut it back really hard, and it'll flush out, and it'll be beautiful. And it actually, when those berries ripen, it's going to be more towards the fall, and that you can use them. I mean, again, using them for Christmas decorations.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
Remember the first time you saw that plant? Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
I said, oh, where did that come from?
Yep. And it's an older plant. Bluebeard, Caryopteris, blue mist spirea. It's not necessarily a spirea like you think of. It has that, and sometimes we have cross common names. And that blue mist spirea look incredible. That they have a wonderful blue flower, but the newer varieties have a contrasting bright yellow foliage. So there's newer varieties that have different foliage. So Caryopteris is a great one.
Yeah. Those two, Calicarpa and Caryopteris, oh my gosh.
Yeah, knockout plants. And, and especially, you'll realize why you fell in love with them to begin with when you cut them now during this time of the year.
Right.
Another Rosa Sharon.
Oh, yes.
Rosa Sharon is something that can get out of control, and that it can. I like the new variety from Proven Winners, where it's a columnar variety, so it grows real narrow, but it still gets 15 foot tall.
Yeah, it gets big, but it's narrow.
But you can do the cutting back now will tame it. Let's see, Summer Sweet, Plethora.
Plethora, yeah, that's awesome.
That is the variety that you'll see that under Hummingbird. That can be done now, and that also will help fill out St. John's wort.
St. John's wort, yeah. Smoke bush.
Right, smoke bush. Cut the crap out of smoke bush. Yeah. Sorry to be so passionate, but
it becomes a tree if you don't.
But the reality is it gets out of control, and every once in a while you need to bring it back down to earth, literally.
So a lot of it is forming it too. It's not just health wise, and forming it makes it look beautiful.
Right. And that's the whole idea.
Yeah.
And most important,
now
everyone, put your ear close to the speaker. Get your ear pods turned up. It is time to do hydrangea, but it's not the macrophylla, not the snowball bush hydrangea. It is the other variety that blooms in the fall. That's what you want to do. Again, it's paniculata. That's the botanicals, so hydrangea paniculata. That is what you want to do now. That's the one that may still have flowers on it. That
dried up,
more of a triangular flower. plants, although they're doing smaller varieties, usually they're white and they fade to pink. That's what you want to do. Paniculata. Not the snowball bush, blue or pink. Even there's some whites, but the typical blue hydrangea that you think about in spring. You need to basically leave that one alone. Yeah. There are some details that you can do when the buds start to swell, but we're not going to cover that. That's another show.
Another show, yeah.
But the only hydrangea I want you to touch, again, is the variety that will bloom in the spring. And that's paniculata.
Right.
Okay.
Just one.
Some of the most popular varieties are Limelight Prime. Again, that's the varieties that you want to cut now, not the macrophylla.
We'll still get a question on that.
We will.
Yeah.
I think weekly.
I think it's
so
a
when do
weekly.
I prune my?
Yeah. All right. What happened to my?
Yeah. So again, the snowball bush, blue, purple, and pink. You don't want to do those now, but you do want to do the whites that bloom in the late summer and fall. Roses. Cut them roses.
Oh, yeah.
Cut them roses. Air them out. And like we talked about in the beginning, you want to get air circulation down into those roses. Cut any crossing branches. You want to cut anything that's smaller than a pencil. And you want to get them to be about 18 inches tall. And cut any crossing branches. You want them open, and you want basically stems that are as big as your thumb. And you got to remember, most roses are grafted. Some of the shrub roses you can just kind of shear down, like knockouts and such. But I'm talking about more of the hybrid teas and the Floribundas, grandifloras. You want to open them up so there's air circulation around the base so that you cut down on those disease problems. And back to some of the spireas, there's that new variety that I like so much. It's was it candy corn?
Yeah.
It looks awesome. Awesome. Oh. So again, don't fear the shears, okay? It's not, you never can prune too early for winter pruning. It looks like I looked at the 15-day forecast. We're 50s, 60s.
Oh, yeah.
Nighttime's going to be, right around, hovering around freezing.
Right.
Now, this is trade secret, but, when we get nursery stock from Oregon, we want it to be dormant so that it comes out of dormancy in our climate. I told my son, Carl, let the trucks roll.
Let them go.
Get them in here because we're getting to that point where, again, the temperatures and Julio, the soil temperatures, we checked 47 degrees.
Yeah.
So Julio's going to check
right now. Okay. Right. Current temperature is, listen to this, 50 degrees.
Wow. 50 degrees.
Yeah.
Last week at this time, it was 37, which we had, if you recall, that Arctic blast. So
yeah. Incredible, isn't it?
Don't fear the shears.
No.
Don't fear the shears.
No.
Cut them back. Don't be afraid. The plants will look incredible.
Yes, they will.
All right. We'll be right back in the garden right after this. Hi, this is Len Schroeder from Bloomers in the Garden. Do you have a landscape, garden, or plant question? If so, call or text us using the Bloomers in the Garden hotline. Dial 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you. Call or text us and let us know what problems you're facing. Let us know how we're doing. Call or text 609-685-1880. If we use your comment on the air, we'll send you a free Bloomers t-shirt. Call or text us at 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. And we'll see you in the garden. Your next houseplant is waiting for you in Bloomers Home and Garden Center's greenhouse. Bloomers recognizes that houseplant choices are as important to your interior decorating as the fabric on your couch. The right plant, paired with the perfect container, can bring a dynamic change to your home. A houseplant brings life to your world and connects your home's interior to the greater outdoors. Even a small succulent placed on your coffee table has a way of connecting your living room to the Amazon rainforest. How about an air plant in your kitchen? Looking for an indoor flowering plant to add color to your plant palette? Bloomers has a large revolving assortment of flowering beauties. From aglaonemas to ZZ plants, Bloomers Greenhouse is stocked with your next favorite indoor plant. Bloomers carries a large selection of pottery and containers to match your home's decor and make any of your plants more beautiful. Bloomers experts can help you care for your plants and have the fertilizer, insecticides, leaf shine, and specialty soils you need to grow healthy and happy indoor plants. Visit Bloomers Home and Garden Center's greenhouse and make every room in your home a living room. Visit bloomers.com for more information. That's bloomers.com, and we'll see you in the garden.
Dreaming of a gorgeous garden? Give your azaleas, rhododendron, blueberries, and evergreens a powerful boost with the #1 acid-loving plant food, Espoma Organic Hollytone. Hollytone is a perfect blend of natural, long-lasting ingredients that nourish plants for stronger roots, faster growth, and bountiful blooms. Plus, it's easy to use and safe for people, pets, and planet. Visit espoma.com for a retailer near you and helpful gardening tips. Espoma, a natural in the garden since 1929.
You're listening to Bloomers in the Garden Radio. Listen anytime through your favorite podcast provider or hear us on the radio each weekend. Every Saturday morning, Bloomers in the Garden Radio is heard in Philadelphia and throughout the whole Delaware Valley, first at 8 a.m. on Talk 860 WWDB and again at 9 a.m. on AM 800 WTMR. On Sunday at 8 a.m., we can be heard through the New York tri-state area on Classic Oldies, 1250 a.m. WMTR. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the garden.
Welcome back to Bloomers in the Garden. Hellebores are known as Lenten rose, and I love this plant. They are the earliest blooming perennial, and I tell you what, I'm all excited.
You are excited.
Yeah.
I tell you, you have them planted, and you showed me a picture of, they are budded and are swelling.
Oh, they're swolled up.
They're going to be, I tell you what,
beautiful.
They're going to be unbelievable.
Yeah.
So, Hellebores called Lenten rose, and why are they called Lenten rose? Because they are flowering during the Christian season of Lent, and that's why they got their name. So Lent and Lenten rose. Mm-hmm. And that's its common name, which most people, know it for. And, people would, back in the old days, Lenten rose, like, do you have Lenten rose? Do you have Lenten rose? Do you have Lenten rose? To be honest, they were ugly.
They were.
But the new hybrids over the last 5 years or so are spectacular. And the reason why Lenten rose were ugly is that the flowers themselves hung down, and like if you were a mole eating the roots of the plant, or you were, you could look up and see the flower.
Sure.
But if you're, tall, over
like
say about, 18 inches tall, that you couldn't see the flowers because they were facing down. But now all of the new varieties,
I'm telling you,
you don't have to lay down on the ground and look up to see the flowers. They all are, happy faces facing up, showing you, the insides, and they're incredible. And one of the favorite series that to look for is when you're out and about at your local garden center, look for the Frost Kiss series. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable, yeah.
Fantastic colors. It has a really red. It's not like a bright, Christmas red. It's more like a mauve, but it's just beautiful.
It is beautiful.
Beautiful. Winter Angels is another variety to look for, and that the one highlight about those is the marbled foliage. You don't even think about the foliage.
No, you don't. It's an evergreen, by the way.
It is. Well, there you go. That some of the benefits of the plant, like Julio just said, it's an evergreen.
Can't beat that.
You can make it a ground cover.
Oh yeah.
But it also can grow in the shade.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for something to grow in the shade that is going to be an evergreen, that flowers early, we got your plant.
That's it.
We've got your plant. Again, it is. TJ talking to us? TJ,
Keep quiet.
it's
our
you're
show.
married now,
Right.
It's time to start learning about this stuff.
That's right.
And you make
Being
sure
involved.
you Valentine's Day roses from the top of the show. Don't go home empty-handed. It won't be good for you.
Sounds good.
And women never forget. Okay,
I know that feeling.
Yeah, well, there you
There
go.
you
We all bond. We can all bond in this room. In any case, Hellebores are incredible. That
They are.
and the hybrids that they're coming out with, like for instance, there's just right up your alley. It's a honeymoon series.
Yeah.
The colors from yellow, and then some of the flowers have like a variegation in the
Yeah, I like
flower.
that.
There's pinks, and there's I can't say, it's more like lavender, and then back to that mauve color.
Mauve.
It's incredible. So start looking at your local garden center for, again, Hellebores, also known as the Lenten rose, and that you're going to be amazed on the choices. Now, look, they're not cheap. They're not cheap, but they're worthwhile because, again, the benefits of the plant, flowers super early, is an evergreen, grows in the shade.
No, yeah, you can't beat that. And not only that, the flower lasts so long.
You told me that you had yours blooming, and it was,
Oh, my gosh.
I mean,
Len.
it was a summer.
Yeah,
And it
it
was
was.
still
It was
blooming.
still blooming, yeah.
So it started in February and bloomed all the way through.
Oh, yeah.
Are yours in the shade?
Yeah.
Yeah,
In
see,
shade.
and that's one benefit. Being in the shade, they're going to flower even longer.
Yeah, they will.
So, again, go out to your local garden center, and that they're going to just start getting them in now. And
It is
yes, it is
exciting.
safe to plant.
It is.
And look for Hellebores and the newer varieties, the Honeymoon series, the Frost Kiss series. You can't go wrong.
No, you can't.
You can't go wrong. We'll be back in the garden right after this. Hi, this is Len Schroeder from Bloomers in the Garden. Do you have a landscape, garden, or plant question? If so, call or text us using the Bloomers in the Garden hotline. Dial 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you. Call or text us and let us know what problems you're facing. Let us know how we're doing. Call or text 609-685-1880. If we use your comment on the air, we'll send you a free Bloomers t-shirt. Call or text us at 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. And we'll see you in the garden. Some of our most frequent questions revolve around organic container gardening for houseplants, annuals, and of course, vegetables. Coast of Maine's Bar Harbor Blend Organic Potting Soil is a lightweight soil mixture made with salmon, blueberry, lobster, and other composts, as well as calcium and chitin-rich lobster shells, sphagnum peat, perlite, and kelp meal. It is a great soil. And Coast of Maine's Bar Harbor Organic Potting Soil is rich in organic material, creating lush, disease-resistant plants that require less watering, less feeding. Its rich, dark brown color provides the perfect balance between water retention and drainage needed for healthy plants. Coast of Maine's Bar Harbor Blend Organic Potting Soil is available at these local retailers.
Forcelati Brothers, Rivervale, New Jersey. Calgo Gardens, Freehold, New Jersey. Tony's Farm and Garden, Windsor, New Jersey. Dreaming of a gorgeous garden? Give your azaleas, rhododendron, blueberries, and evergreens a powerful boost with the #1 acid-loving plant food, Espoma Organic Hollytone. Hollytone is a perfect blend of natural, long-lasting ingredients that nourish plants for stronger roots, faster growth, and bountiful blooms. Plus, it's easy to use and safe for people, pets, and planet. Visit espoma.com for a retailer near you and helpful gardening tips. Espoma, a natural in the garden since 1929.
You're listening to Bloomers in the Garden Radio. Listen anytime through your favorite podcast provider or hear us on the radio each weekend. Every Saturday morning, Bloomers in the Garden Radio is heard in Philadelphia and throughout the whole Delaware Valley, first at 8 a.m. on Talk 860 WWDB and again at 9 a.m. on AM 800 WTMR. On Sunday at 8 a.m., we can be heard through the New York tri-state area on Classic Oldies, 1250 a.m. WMTR. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the garden. Welcome back to Bloomers in the Garden. On this week's Houseplant Rant, we're talking about rabbit's foot fern. I love rabbit's foot fern.
Yeah, you like
Have you ever had one?
No, never.
No. So rabbit's foot fern, the fronds from the fern are small, and they stay covering the pot. But what happens is rhizomes come, and they form these, like, they look like little bunny feet that are underneath.
Yeah.
Think of like a woodland scene where there's a like baby bunny hiding underneath a plant, and you can still see its paws. Yeah. And that's what it looks like. And it's so cool. It's so cool. And it's a conversation piece. It's decorative. It's pretty easy to take care of. I just love the fact that you could put it on like an end table, and it's not so big that it overtakes. Like there's like Monstera. Monstera, These are cute little plants in like 4-inch or 6-inch pots, hanging baskets.
They look great.
Because what happens is those little bunny feet that they'll go and hang over the hanging basket, but small, 4 to 6-inch hanging basket, nothing great big. But they're just the texture. Like we talk about how plants in landscape design, its color, texture, and form.
Right. These
have such a nice, soft texture.
That's it.
And it really brings they look alive. It's not something where, there are some plants that like, all right, I'm going to say it, snake plants. Snake plants to me are like, you could fake that with a fake one and nobody would know the difference. Where, the rabbit's foot fern just, it feels alive. And like if you have it in a room, it feels alive. Yeah, What's the care, Julio? What's the care?
As we always say, it's easy because it is, right? And
all right.
So what you do is you're going to put it in an area of light where it's not direct light. You want it indirect light.
Right. So something where, we always use the thing, if you can read a newspaper without having to turn the lights on,
you're fine.
You're good. You're good. What's a newspaper, right, DJ? What's a newspaper? You don't know what a newspaper are these things that you used to buy. So
these young people don't
I'm
know.
not that young.
All right. Just saying.
All right.
But anyway, so it's basically indirect light. You don't want to put it in full light because it likes to be moist. In that the little, we're going to keep, instead of calling them rhizomes to confuse people, could be good to sound smart though. Those aren't rabbit feet, they're rhizomes. They're rabbit feet.
Yeah.
Okay. So those little bunny feet that grow along the soil that they will hold some of that moisture in.
Yeah.
So they help you that way.
Smart.
But again, it likes to be indirect. You could do it in on a windowsill as long as it's not like burning hot sun all day long.
Yeah, you gotta watch that.
Perfect household temperatures, 70 degrees. Cooler temperatures at night. If you're like me, the other day my house was 53 degrees in the morning.
No.
During that time, I was thinking about Aaron. Him and I were having problems with our heaters. The door blew open in the middle of the night.
You're kidding.
Door blew open in the middle of the night. I went downstairs.
It was frozen.
I was like, oh no. God,
happened?
Please don't make me have to go to the store to buy the capacitor that Aaron just had to. I'm thinking, but thank goodness I figured it out.
That's great.
But my heat and electric bill is going to be like $7,000 next month.
Through the roof.
So keeping them at 70 degrees and cooler at night, not 53. But if you're bringing it back down to like 65, good sleeping weather and prudent, saving money weather, that's perfect. And again, you're not going to dunk them in water like some plants like to be. Like you could probably even, just take it and put a little bit of water. Like I always like something that's practical. All those half-drank water bottles that are around your house?
No, I don't do that. Water bottle? What are they?
We don't know it. We have to get Julio out, man.
Yeah.
We really do have to get you out more.
I use clay.
Water bottles. Yeah. I'm not going to explain what water bottles are.
All right. I use glass.
Anyway. So if you take half a water bottle or water bottles that are left over,
Right.
you just put some that in there, and that's good enough. You don't want to drown it, but it does like to be moist,
Yeah.
not wet.
No.
And it's almost lightly moist if you're willing. Misting,
Oh,
if you're a mister, that's a great thing for them.
that is great.
If it doesn't need much care.
Yeah.
Liquid house plant food, like if you're using like a half strength, it doesn't need much. It doesn't need much care. It's all about not overwatering it, not caring for it too much. Keeping it misted is probably the one thing that I would say would be a great addition to your routine. And you don't need to repot them a lot. Every couple of years, regular, good potting soil. Go to your local garden center, take a look and see if they have a rabbit's fern. Do yourself a favor and buy one. Valentine's Day is coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like
because you can't give your mother-in-law, roses.
No, you can't.
Right, TJ? Can't give your mother-in-law roses.
No.
Like that's reserved for your wife.
That's right.
A rabbit's foot fern with like a little thing that says Happy Valentine's Day. You're a hero. I'm so glad he married my daughter. Anyway.
Oh, my goodness.
All right.
All right.
Get yourself a rabbit's foot fern. You won't be disappointed.
No, you won't.
We'll be back in the garden right after this. Hi, this is Len Schroeder from Bloomers in the Garden. Do you have a landscape, garden, or plant question? If so, call or text us using the Bloomers in the Garden hotline. Dial 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you. Call or text us and let us know what problems you're facing. Let us know how we're doing. Call or text 609-685-1880. If we use your comment on the air, we'll send you a free Bloomers t-shirt. Call or text us at 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. And we'll see you in the garden.
Bloomers in the Garden is brought to you each week by Bloomers Home and Garden Center. Bloomers is an award-winning garden center just 20 minutes from Philadelphia. Bloomers has been providing expert advice turning brown thumbs green for over 30 years. At Bloomers, we want you to ask us every question, even if you think it's silly. We share information in a friendly, non-judgmental way that is meant to teach and spread the joy of gardening. Visit Bloomers Home and Garden Center in Washington Township, Gloucester County. For directions, go to bloomers.com, and we'll see you in the garden.
The Bird Sanctuary at Bloomers Home and Garden Center is dedicated to the care and feeding of wild birds. We carry a flock of feeders like the Brome Squirrel-Proof Feeder, which has a lifetime guarantee. Brome makes fantastic feeders for frustrating squirrels and feeding songbirds. Bloomers Bird Sanctuary has a vast selection of wild bird seed, suet, seed cakes, and mealworms. We carry Lyric, Coles, C&S, Pine Tree Farms, and our own line called Bloomers Blend. Bloomers Blend Songbird Magnet contains premium black oil sunflower, peanut splits, millet, safflower, and tree nuts. It's sure to attract the most colorful songbirds to your yard. Bloomers Home and Garden Center is located in Washington Township in Gloucester County, New Jersey. Visit us online at www.bloomers.com. When you come in, ask for Shirley Spurbeck, Bloomers Wild Bird Specialist. Mention you heard it on Bloomers in the Garden Radio, and we'll give you $10 off a 20-pound bag of Bloomers Blend Songbird Magnet Mix. You're listening to Bloomers in the Garden Radio. Listen anytime through your favorite podcast provider or hear us on the radio each weekend. Every Saturday morning, Bloomers in the Garden Radio is heard in Philadelphia and throughout the whole Delaware Valley, first at 8 a.m. on Talk 860 WWDB, and again at 9 a.m. on AM 800 WTMR. On Sunday at 8 a.m., we can be heard through the New York tri-state area on Classic Oldies, 1250 a.m. WMTR. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the garden. Me and Julio down at the schoolyard. Hey, I mean, lots to learn, lots to do. Don't fear the shears.
No, don't fear it.
Good luck with your Valentine's Day, your gifts for your Valentine. No problems.
No problem.
Take my deliver it to work.
That's yeah.
Anyway, listen, if you have a question about anything, well, the reference to horticulture, well, the Lovelorn can contact
Yes,
Julio
yeah,
if you want.
That's right.
Just please call us on the hotline, 609-685-1880. Leave your question, and we will call you back with the answer.
Yep. Did you know you can listen to Bloomers in the Garden anytime? Search on your favorite podcasting platform or go to bloomers.com and visit the radio tab.
Thank you, TJ.
Thank you, TJ.
Producer extraordinaire.
Yes, he is.
All right. We'll see you next week, the same time, right here in the garden. See you in the garden.